All right, guys, I got a quick tip on deck. We're going to be talking about slingshot elastic. Don't go away. So, guys, we all know that I do a lot of band testing. Now, I've had some people ask me, oh, how come I can't get the same band speed as you? Or how come I got a faster speed than you? And all this stuff. Well, there's a few things that can affect band speed or ammo speed or whatever you want to call it. One of them is temperature. Now, if it's 25 degrees outside and I'm shooting, I'm getting 300 feet per second, and I go back outside and it's only 3 degrees outside, I'm not hitting 300 feet per second anymore. It's going to be slower. The cold affects the bands, makes them slower. If it's way too hot, it may slow down too. Too hot, too cold. There's like a sweet spot in there where the bands really function at their peak performance in a temperature. So that makes a big difference. The second thing could be your draw. Now, I had one guy say, I don't understand how come you only got 300 feet per second when I'm getting like 375 feet per second. Well, turns out after talking to the guy for a little bit, he shoots long draw, I shoot short draw. So that causes a problem. Vice versa. If I'm shooting 30 inch draw and somebody else is shooting a 25 inch draw, my ball, if our bands are tuned the same, but we've got the active band lengths for our draw length, my bullet's going to fly faster than a shorter one. Hands down. Maybe not a tremendous amount, but it's going to be faster because it's got more time in the elastic to speed up and take off. That's part of the issue. Now, the third thing, and I see this all the time, is no matter what band set people get, they find the band set, they divide it by 5 or 5.5 or 6, and then they make their bands. Now, we're going to explore this a little bit. I'm going to show you why it's important to check the elongation of your bands every roll, every time, even if it's the same brand. Sometimes it can be an issue where you'll check one, it'll be, say, 6.5, and the next time it'll be 7. It's happened to me before. So I'm going to show you why you should check the elongations of your bands. We're going to check two different versions of the same thickness, or two different brands of the same thickness. And then I'm going to show you what happens when you take these when you draw them, and the elongation is slightly different because we're going to cut both bands the same. So give me a second. I'm going to pull out two bands. We're going to check them out, and then we're going to build a couple of band sets, and we're going to see where these mistakes can happen.
Now what you want to do is cut off a nice thin strip of rubber and draw two lines on it about 1 centimeter apart. Now basically what we want to do is see how far that 1 centimeter will stretch. Alright, so our 1 centimeter has stretched out to 5 centimeters. So our ratio is 5 to 1, which basically means that we have an elongation of 5 times.
So we just tested our elongation. We got a ratio of 5 to 1. So basically that means is we took 1 centimeter and we stretched it to 5 long. Now, that said, to find out what our active band length is going to be, now we're going to take my draw length, which is 76.2, and we're going to divide it by 5, and that gives us 15.24. So basically 15.25 centimeters will be our active band length. I will add a half centimeter for band attachment and 1 centimeter for the thing. So we're talking about for the pouch. So now we're talking about 16.25. So we're talking about 16.75 centimeters for a whole band length.
All right, now have a look here. So here, 5, 10, 15, 16, and 3/4. To ensure exact cuts, I'll use a band template of 22 to 12. I'll also draw a 1 centimeter line at the pouch attachment end to make sure they are exactly the same. The two band sets we'll be making today, they'll be two identical GMBW pouches.
So we got our first band set tied up. Let's go through the same process with this, but I'm going to cut these to the exact same length as these, and then we're going to see what happens with the bands.
All right, here's the gong chi. There's 5, 10, 15, 16, and 3/4 inches.
There we go. Alright guys, now you can see right here, both these bands are exactly the same. There's no difference. They're exactly the same. We're going to go ahead and put the GZK green on this fella here, the Scout LT LE, and then we're going to take a draw with it. And we're going to show you where it stops. And then I'm going to switch the bands again, and we're going to take a draw with the Gong Chi, and we're going to see where that one stops. Alright guys, we got the GZK green all set up on the Scout LT. We're going to give it a draw and see how it goes. So, cheekbone, stretched out. That's it. That's all it's got right there on the end of my cheekbone. That's the stretch. Now let's take a look at the Gong Chi white. We all saw the GZK green. That stopped right at my cheekbone. Remember? Now look at this. Gong Chi. See where that goes? Now watch this. Almost 8 inches of extra shooting, of extra elastic compared to the GZK green, which stopped right at my cheekbone, and I was able to go to about here, right at the side of my cheekbone. Now, the GZK green, from shooting from the same anchor point, is going to be way faster than the Gong Chi, only because we're not reaching anywhere near the potential of the Gong Chi, because we're not stretching it all the way back here. I think you can even hear the difference. Sorry guys, now you just saw I had 6.7 on one and 5 on the other. Now just to let you know, I've had rolls of GZK green that came in at 5.5. This one came in 5. It wasn't stretching anymore. The Gong Chi, I've had it, my first roll that I got stretched to 7 times max elongation. This time it was 6.7. 3 millimeters times 6.7 is a big difference. It stretches a long way. So every time you get a roll, even if it's the same brand that you shoot all the time, always check the elongation. It could just be that whoever made the bands should have stirred it instead of shaking it. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but I've had some inconsistencies in bands from many places. So it's always a good idea to check your elongation. If you're wondering why some bands aren't performing as good as some other bands, it's because you haven't checked the elongation and made them accordingly. Now, what do I suggest you do? If you don't want to max out your bands all the time. I do that for speed tests. That's okay. But when you're getting into shooting all the time and you want to have good shooting, but you want to have some longevity, add a 0.5 centimeter. A 0.5 centimeter will stretch 5 times. One, if your elongation is 6, for example, and you add a 0.5 centimeter, that's 3 extra centimeters. That's over an inch of extra plate that you have there that will add longevity to your bands. You don't need that much. So the way these Gong Chi bands were set up, I would have never used this cut for that length. I probably would have used a 14. A 14, then attached my pouch, made it 13, and then the 0.5 centimeter for the fork attachment would have made it like 13 and a half. And I still probably would have had a little bit of play here. This is a lot of play. So, guys, please start checking the elongation of your bands. Write it inside the label, just like we've done in this one. And every time you go to make your bands after that, for that roll, you'll have all the information you need, and you'll get the maximum performance out of your bands that you want. Hopefully you found this video useful. I got a handful of clays here, and we got this frame all dressed up in a nice band set, so might as well go outside and do some shooting. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you found this video useful, and you'll give this a try and see if you can really enhance the performance of your bands, or make them last a little bit longer, or find the sweet spot. Thanks a lot for watching. You take care, get out and practice, stay safe, be good to each other. I'll see you again soon. I love you guys. You're freaking awesome, and it's so far away again.
Well, this is pretty much the only way I practice nowadays. Stand up on the deck, chase a can around, keep shooting it until it gets to the fence. Finally, it ends up dropping down into a crack. I've got about 35 or 40 cans buried back in that snow somewhere. Clean up in spring's going to be rough, but it's no big deal. It's still fun to chase cans around, and it's probably the best way to learn your range. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one and it cleared up any questions you had about why different bands were acting differently or whatever. But anyway, if you like this video or you find it useful, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you again soon with another video. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you a couple of playlists for you to check out. Maybe something with tips and then maybe something with reviews. I hope you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to take off. You enjoy the rest of the shooting, and I'll see you again soon.
Oh, I just touched it. There we go. Scout LT, LE, kicking the camera. You guys take care.